Pierre Poilievre is returning to the House of Commons after securing a new seat with a win in last night's by-election in Alberta.
This fall, as Parliament returns, we will not only oppose out-of-control Liberal inflation, crime, immigration, cost of living, and housing prices, but we will propose real solutions.
Poilievre won the riding of Battle River-Crowfoot, capturing 80% of the vote. His win was widely expected, as the riding is one of the safest Conservative seats in the country. The Tory leader lost his previous Ottawa riding in the April federal election. Prime Minister Mark Carney wished Poilievre well this morning, writing, "Congratulations to Pierre Poilievre on returning to the House of Commons. Working together, Canada's new government will keep building a stronger future for all Albertans and Canadians." The two leaders will square off when Parliament returns next month. Poilievre has already signaled some of his plans, including that he will call on Carney to begin construction of at least 2 pipeline projects and a road to the Ring of Fire in Ontario by mid-March. All right, for more on this, I'm joined tonight by Conservative strategist Will Stewart. He's a senior vice president at public affairs firm Enterprise Canada. Will, good to have you with us tonight. Poilievre got 80% of the vote. Do you think that's enough of a victory to quiet any Conservative voices that are still perhaps unhappy with his failure to beat Carney in April?
Well, thanks for having me on tonight, Matt. It's good to see you. There's one thing we know about Conservatives. They're never always happy at any one period of time or not. But look, I think the 80% mark, honestly, was higher than I thought it would be. Yes, it's a little lower than they got in the general election most recently. But remember, this was a by-election, which usually has a lower turnout. This was a middle of the summer election. And frankly, it's an election where you've got a parachuted candidate in where people might be a little bit tired of elections after all that they've had. But very strong support for the leader of the Conservative Party, much higher than I thought, and high voter turnout as well. It shows an engaged electorate and a motivated electorate for sure. So that piece, definitely check mark for Pierre Poilievre. He's succeeded that first challenge that he has.
All right, by-election aside, he's now returning to Parliament. Do you think he's going to work with Carney on some of the issues facing our country?
Look, I think he's going to work with Carney where he can, and he's going to oppose Carney where he should. I think that's the challenge. I'm seeing a lot of individuals, mainly those who may not have hammered in lawn signs or may not be part of the Conservative Party, saying that Pierre Poilievre has to moderate somehow. He has to change his point of view somehow. I don't see that, frankly. He's got an increased seat count from where he was before. Any other election in Canada's history where the NDP is at 10%, Pierre is Prime Minister. So look, he does have to change his tone a bit. He does have to criticize the government, and that's a difficult thing to do in a pro-Canada, Canada first environment. But I expect him to be highly critical of the Prime Minister. How he levels those criticisms will be key to his electoral fortunes in the future, however.
Do you expect him to be on the same issues as he was before, or are we going to see a new version of Pierre this time around?
You know, I'm seeing the issue set returning to Pierre's issue set, frankly. We see the Prime Minister who's saying, I'm the only one who can deal with Donald Trump, now saying, we just kind of have to do our own thing because the guy south of the border is so unpredictable. Frankly, that's exactly the message that Pierre Poilievre gave during the campaign. I think that's 100% true. I think we should be Canada first. I think Pierre thinks we should be Canada first, but that doesn't necessarily, we have to take care of our own issues here. That's not necessarily dealing with the guy to the south. The guy in the south is both a benefit and a drawback for Pierre. For all politicians in Canada. We've united the country like never before, but by the same token, there's a lot of people that try to liken Pierre with Donald Trump south of the border, which just isn't a fit that I think most Canadians see.
All right, that's Conservative strategist Will Stewart. Will, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks so much, Matt. Great to have you. Great to be here.